Hello, and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles, as always. On this week's podcast, I'm joined by Arsenal season ticket holders Eamonn Donnelly and Liam Gardner to review a cracking 2-2 draw against title rivals Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium yesterday. Remember to check out the River Bar, the official pub to the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. So sit back and enjoy the show. As I said in my intro, I'm joined by two Arsenal season ticket holders. First of all, from the UK, an avid fan of that, Liam Gardner. Great to have you back, pal. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for obviously giving me the opportunity to come on tonight, mate, first and foremost. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm a little bit, just a little bit gutted that we didn't get the win yesterday that we totally deserved, in my opinion. But yeah, we move onwards to Wednesday, really.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about, like the game against Bournemouth, Liam, and I know you were at the stadium along with Eamonn, so I'm really looking forward to hearing both your views from yesterday's match, having the best seat in the house. I'm also joined by Eamonn. How are you, Donnelly, this week? How are you, pal?
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Liam. I was watching a programme there about a barber on the moon there. Do you know why we cuts hair on the moon? He clips it. We need a bit of cheering up before the show starts. So I'm just back in from the airport. So such is the dedication, despite all my detractors. I still try hard, you know.
Yeah, if that's not dedication to rush back from the airport, I don't know what it is.
I'm like Father Ted. I'm still clinging onto the airplane.
As you can see, due to that the turbulence in the air, Eamonn lost the last bit of here.
I think his grip is loosening now, Dougal, you know, yeah.
I think the only reason why Eamonn had the grip so straight. No, it's great to have you both on, and I'm glad thanks again for as always taking your time out. Really good views for our shows last week. Our review show of Bournemouth and Shakhtar that Liam was on. And thanks to Lottie for the Women's Super League show as well. And also our preview shows are going down quite well as well. So thanks again to everyone who leaves a comment under our vids and listens to us on Spotify. It's very much appreciated. And as always, thanks to my guests that come on week out, taking their time to come on. So thanks again, lads. To the review yesterday of Arsenal and Liverpool, 2-2. Bukayo Saka got this goal scored and up and running with a cracking strike on 9 minutes with his left-footed thunderball past Gallagher. Van Dijk got the equaliser for Liverpool in the first half through a corner kick. Moreno got our second just right on half-time. An excellent delivery by Declan Rice and a bullet header. And of course, with 10 minutes to go, Mohamed Salah got the equaliser for Liverpool. Just a few notes before we kick on into the review. Bukayo Saka became the youngest Arsenal player to reach 50 Premier League goals, which was originally set by the one and only Thierry Henry in 2001. So congrats to him. Saliba, who was suspended yesterday, Martin Odegaard and Calafiori, who were both injured from the start, were pretty much big losses for us, I feel. More so Odegaard, the way he controls the tempo in midfield, and can get the game, can get torn quickly and start attacks, which we don't really have in midfield at the moment. But I thought Rice and Moreno done quite well in the centre of midfield. I suppose straight away to the action. I suppose the goals. It was a superb ball over the top from Ben White for Bukayo Saka. He really outran. He really panicked Andy Robertson all day, in fairness, down that side. I thought Van Dijk should have given him a bit more help. He didn't really sprint back to help him out, but you can't take anything away from the finish from Bukayo Saka. That left-footed strike, and in fairness, Keller didn't have a chance with it. It was the best strike I've seen from Bukayo Saka in a long while. He scores great goals, but that has to go down as a favourite for me. And for his 50th as well, I think that he'll always remember that goal. Liverpool's equaliser. The more you watch it back, the most frustrating part of it was Havertz being beaten by Luis Diaz to get that flick on in the first place. And then Thomas Partey, I think, should have been sure tight to Virgil van Dijk. You know, I thought it was a bit of an easy header. You know, he wasn't really ruffled like we'd be at corners, you know. And I thought, you know, bit poor marking in fairness, you know. But in fairness, there was a incident after that around the 40-minute mark where Nunes, I thought, got away with murder yesterday. In fairness, some of his tackles were just filthy, you know. But there was one barge on Saka that completely took him out. There was no free kick, and there's no yellow card issued. And I thought that was really frustrating, you know. And I thought Liverpool kind of got away with a few tackles there yesterday that, you know, that avoided either a free kick or a yellow card in most cases. Declan Rice's free kick again, our little bollocks of a set piece coach once again delivered. Marino looks quite the player. What a header. I don't think Header had a chance to sniff. You know, he'd no chance of saving, in fairness. But Marino really looks at home there. You know, the way he celebrated in front of the fans. The fans have taken to him as well, and I think that could be a long love affair, hopefully, with the club. I suppose into the second half, the most annoying things I think to take out was Gabriel going off in the 52nd minute with that knee injury. Looks, you know, he had a large ice pack, heavily iced. As he was on the substitute bench, so that is a bit of a worry for us. Kivior came on. It was a type of game where it was quite fast paced when he came on. You know, didn't do too bad, but got badly caught out for that second goal from Liverpool. It was an incredible ball over the top from Alexander-Arnold for Nunes to run onto, but it was the movement of Salah. It was at a stage where Jurrien Timber, he was completely cramped up from running after Salah. You know, he was trying to get in them little pockets of space all day, Salah, and he was running the legs off Timber. But Lewis Skelly, who came on for Timber, he can't really fault him. He's a young player. He learned from that, you know. But Kivior and Skelly running for the same ball, you know, over the top, it led to that space in the middle. And, you know, I think a draw hand on heart was probably a fair result, but I think we probably deserved to win that game. You know, it was Liverpool, I think they faced two challenges now in the last 2 weeks, Chelsea and us. And as Arnie Slot says, this is where the tests are starting to come now. You know, he did have a handy start, and he's starting to meet, you know, it's sadly 2 points lost for ourselves. But just before I come on to Eamonn, there was a moment at the end as well where the Jesus goal was disallowed. It was given for the foul on Szoboszlai, Kivior going over on him. But when you look back on it, on the highlights on Match of the Day and all, Szoboszlai never made an attempt even to go for the header. You know, it was a foul, but it was the delay. It was like 4 or 5 seconds before the ref blew and the ball was in the net. That's again quite annoying. And at that moment, I thought Jesus done quite well when he came on as well. He was a bit of a live wire. I thought Havertz had another great game as well. 2-2, as I said, leaves us in third place on 18 points, with City on 23 still top. You the best seat in the house along with Eamonn yesterday. Liam, I want to come to you first. What was your analysis on the whole 90 minutes, Liam? Very frustrating.
Yeah, I've come away really frustrated that we didn't win that game. And that's, do you know what? It's not at the team. It's just just everything that conspired in that game, especially in that second half. And when you sit there and think, at the end of the game, we ended up with our fourth choice right back playing right back. We ended up playing our third choice centre back at centre back, our fifth choice centre back at centre back, and at least our fourth choice left back, if not fifth, at left back. It just shows you like how unlucky we've been so far in terms of the injuries and in terms of everything that's kind of conspiring against us. And even after 50 minutes, I didn't see Liverpool winning that game or getting draw in that game. But once we lost Gabriel, obviously we then got pinned on the back foot a little bit because obviously that Gabriel and Saliba are different mustard, didn't they? What they do for us is they can push us up the pitch.
Yeah.
Where obviously the confidence wasn't there once obviously Gabriel went off, but we still held our own. But once Timber went off, I just felt that no one's looking down at us at the moment, are they? We're in a moment where just everything's going against us. But if you take all that out, if you take that aside and you look at the whole 90 minutes and probably not the last 15, 20, 30 minutes, I thought we were superb the first half. I thought it was absolutely superb. Like you said, we got done by a set piece, which we probably didn't glorify ourselves into too much glory with that set piece. But apart from that, I just thought we was brilliant. And I thought we matched what we did to Liverpool last year in the first half, or last season, back in February. I thought Moreno, he showed yesterday what he brings to the party now. He's going to be an absolute key player for us moving forwards. Thomas Partey, I thought was superb at right back. I thought him and Ben White were our best two players. I thought they were absolutely magnificent yesterday. And considering you're taking them out of position, I know Ben White is naturally a centre-back a couple of years ago, but he hasn't played there for a long time. And I thought he was absolutely superb yesterday, Ben White. I thought he was absolutely top-notch. And I suppose my frustration is, right, that I always knew we needed to get a third goal. My frustration was that I could see Liverpool getting one goal in the second half with everything going on. And I just think that we could have forced it a little bit more. But saying that, I understand why we couldn't, because obviously the defenders that we lost. So really frustrated. But naturally, I'm thinking, once we get these players back, if Liverpool can't play against us like that, and for me, they're the second best team, barring us in the Premier League at the moment. We've already gone to Man City, and yet again, we drew 2-2 there with 10 men for 45 minutes. Once we get our team back, we're in a really good situation. We're in a really good place. Do I think we're going to win the Premier League? At the moment, it's a distant dream for me this season. But you just don't know what's going to happen. We just got to stick with it at the moment. Hopefully get the results at Chelsea and Newcastle. And if we do get the results at Chelsea and Newcastle, by that point, we've gone away to Aston Villa, we've gone away to Tottenham, we've gone away to Man City, we've gone away to Chelsea, we've gone away to Newcastle. You ain't got them games for the rest of the season. Liverpool and Man City have still got to play a lot of them games. So it's a bit of pill to swallow that we didn't win that game. But I'm looking at the overall picture and we're in good hands. We're in really good hands. And once we get them players back and once we get them fit, I think it's going to take a lot to beat us.
How good, before I come on to Eamonn and Liam, nothing beats being there, because you see the whole pitch, you see the players' movements a lot better than you would on telly. How good a player is Mikel Merino, and what can he add to what we already have? From what you've seen so far, how impressive are you?
Yeah, so I guess what I see yesterday was the best of. I have only seen bits of him myself at the moment, due to him not playing games. But yesterday was the first game and I think it's a massive game. And I think, like, obviously, he knows he's got to turn up yesterday. He knows he's got to put in performance. But let's be honest, he's played for Spain. He's played in big games for Spain, so he knows what it takes. But I just thought he was assured in there. You wouldn't have sat there and thought, this geezer's only playing his second or third start yesterday. I thought he had a really, really good game, apart from one misplaced pass, if I remember. I didn't think he put a foot wrong. And I'll tell you what, right, when you start looking at moving forwards, that we've got the opportunity to rotate as well, Rice, Partey and himself. Once Arteta gets back the players like Odegaard and like the defenders and all that kind of stuff, he's got a bit of a luxury there, in my opinion, with them three, because each one of them is superb. So for me, it's a superb centre midfielder. But I think as well, talking about Thomas Partey, at this moment of time, with his start of his season form, give him a 2-year contract. Give this guy a 2-year contract. I know he's had his injuries, and I've been as frustrated to anyone. But when you see him naturally fit and playing game after game after game, you realise how good he is. And I think the last 2-3 games, even in centre midfield, I think we spoke about on Wednesday, didn't we, Shakhtar? It was a shame that he had to come out of centre midfield because he was absolutely superb in that first half. And for me, if he can continue like this, I wouldn't let him go at the end of the season. I know he's 30, 31, but Jorginho's 33 and he still plays games for us. I'd keep Thomas Partey at the club.
And briefly, how good was that goal from Bukayo Saka from being there? How good was it? And I think at such an early stage in the game, you could just see the electricity going around the ground, couldn't you?
World class, mate. World class.
Yeah.
Like this season, he's been world class. I don't like to use the word world class by any stretch of imagination, but take out the games he's been injured, he delivers assists and goals nearly every single game. And someone said to me the other day, right, they said to me, I'm a bit worried about Sunday. If Odegaard's fit, we ain't got creativity. And I went, well, what about Saka's fit? Yeah, but he don't really offer creativity. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
If you look at the goal against Southampton, the Martinelli goal, that's all Saka. That is all Saka all day long. Do you know what I mean? And you was there, Eamonn, yesterday. Well, he just like you wouldn't have thought he's been out for a few games, would you? In that first 10, 15 minutes,
No.
Just absolutely electrifying he is. And when he gets that ball, he never loses it. He barely ever loses it. He gets himself out of so many tight situations and all that. I just don't know what else to say about the kid. Do you know what I mean? He's not even a kid no more, is he? I look at him as a leader. And that's the biggest compliment I'll give him now. He's turning into a leader.
Yeah, he's a man above his years already, isn't he? And the celebrations are very teary on Riesque. Like, Eamonn, you also had the best seat in the house yesterday. Your analysis on Arsenal v Liverpool?
Well, like the best spot in the house for Saka's goal because I was right behind it and looking at the angle he picked the ball up. There's no way he should score that goal. And it wasn't Caoimhín Kelleher's fault because if you look, Caoimhín Kelleher is kind of guarding his near post. And he's just kind of moved slightly to the right because that's where Saka normally goes. And Saka hit it with violence.
Yeah, there was venom in it. Yeah.
He hit it with violence.
Yeah, you could see
from
it.
That angle. Like they have the nerve to hit it with that much violence from that angle when they've only done, and he'd only that much to get it through.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I was right behind it. It was incredible. But look, just to go back, it was a strange game, I felt. Anybody who's been all over here and been to an All-Ireland final in Gaelic football, it was very similar. In the atmosphere was electric now, you know. The flag waving. You know the way them Scousers, like, they think Anfield is the only place that can make a bit of noise. We just drowned them out completely, right? But it was one of those ones, it's a bit like drawing an All-Ireland final. You don't know whether to laugh or cry. You know, you're kind of thinking, we should have really won that game. But if you look, and Liam laid out the circumstances under which we finished the game with what we had across the back. You know, when they scored on 81, 82 minutes, you're thinking, we do well to see this out now. And I'm just going to say about Liverpool, and if that had been a Klopp team, they'd have gone after us a bit more, I think, knowing what we had on the pitch. But if anybody was going to win it after they scored, we were going to win it, you know. But just going back to, I'm not as big on this officials controversy this week now as I've heard some people. I think Taylor is one of the better referees, even though he's another one from the northwest of England, Enclave. I never heard of a referee from, you know, Shadwell in East London or from Brighton and Surrey. They're always from the northwest. I don't know why that is. It's probably something to do with pig mall and their little gravy train. But I think, to be honest with you, the officials got serious bored going off the pitch at the end. But I think that's just a culmination of things that have happened this season, that officials are going to get bored when they come to our place now. I think the one where they were very weak on was giving nothing to Van Dijk. I mean, if Gabriel or Saliba does what Van Dijk did, they're at least getting a yellow card, right? But the goal that was disallowed, Jonathan, I can't really judge that because the whistle went so early. You never really know if the whistle hadn't gone, what way the play would have developed. You know, did people half stop to hear the whistle? If anything, it was a free in. Sure, Sabajai made no attempt to do anything.
Exactly.
Killiar's making an honest attempt to win the ball. And if anything, he's been frustrated in his attempt to win the ball. So it should have been a free in. It was a really, really soft free. And when you hear Mike Pokerface Dean saying that we could have that was a soft free, and he could have played on. Well, then you're onto something. Just on the Arnie Slot, I see accuses of rolling around the ground and trying to waste time and take the energy out of the game. Sorry, pal. He got a yellow card again this week. That's 2 for him now. We're going to see a lot more of him when the temperature heats up in this league. He's not a fine art now, right? This is welcome to the big league, pal. And accusing us of rolling around. Well, let me tell you something. One of the reasons why we're rolling around was Nunes was looking to do GBH all day, as was McAllister. And I thought our midfield three really controlled the game in the first half, really top drawer. McAllister looked like a crab. It's the first time I've seen Declan this season being Declan. He was really back to himself, I thought. I thought Marino was terrific, and I thought we were great in the first half. Before the game, the talk in the pub was, if Thomas Partey's playing right full, we're done for. I said, what are you talking about? Oh, well, like, Luis Diaz will have him for thousands. No, we won't. I said, we might have a different shape going forward because he's not going to go forward in the same way that Ben White does because he's a different type of player. But the way Thomas Partey's playing, I would have no worries with him there at all. So Diaz got hooked. Right? I thought Thomas Partey was our best player on the day. And that's saying something when you had a one-legged Bukayo Saka playing the way he did. Saka was playing in one leg, folks. You could see it. He was only... Anyway, so it was frustrating not to win it, but I just want to cover 2 things. That's the second near post corner we've been done on. So our little bollocks, get into work early, start working on defending set pieces as much as attacking them. He's been a genius at them. Should we get another set piece yesterday? And again, it was a different variation, a different free kick. The free kicks that they loop that way, they loop that way. There's men running all over the place, but we've got to be defending near posts. And teams, this league is very unforgiving. Teams will they'll smell it out in you. And I think we just need to do a bit of work there. I'm going to come to the Liverpool's equaliser. And I have to say one thing. And there's something that I said to Liam briefly before we came on air. Arsenal fans, ever since I've been following them in 1971, age 5.5, are a very unforgiving lot. In fact, if arseholes could fly, some sections of our ground would be an airport. I'm going to tell you something. They always look for a scapegoat. I can think back to John Samuels. I can think back to David Price, right? Back in Liam Brady's team. I can think back to Kevin Richardson back in, the 89 winning team. Kevin Richardson was our hard man in the middle of the pitch, but the crowd never gave him a minute. I can think of Granit Xhaka for a few seasons. And now it's all about Kivior. Right? They're on his back the whole time. And it's not right. It doesn't do anybody any good. And the amount of people that were willing to say after the game, Kivior should never be in an Arsenal. What else had we got? I actually thought Kivior was really, really good yesterday.
Do you think, Eamonn, sorry for cutting across you, do you think Kivior has a long-term future there, or do you think the next season or two will determine his fate, whether he's at that standard where we've, where the bar's been set?
I don't give a flying
Gabriel and the quality of...
If you want an honest answer to that question, I actually don't give a flying shite. He's playing for us this season, and we should get behind him, right? That's the only thing that interests me. I think, as we spoke about earlier in the season, we've raised the floor in the level of replacements that we have. We probably wanted to do a bit of business around Kivior in the summer. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
He's one of ours and he's playing for us. And he did very little. I want to cover the goal for a minute because everybody's saying that you even said it yourself on the lead in. Kivior got caught out. I don't think he did.
He kind of...
Well, let me explain to you what happened, because I had a great view of it, because it was down my side.
Yeah.
Right? Bukayo Saka does Pele stuff on the right-hand side of the pitch. He gives the ball to Miles Lewis-Skelly, who gives a beautifully weighted pass to Martinelli. Now, here's where it starts. Miles Lewis-Skelly is a 17-year-old kid, and he got caught in the moment of looking at his pass and seeing where it landed. He had to do, and by the way, this is totally understandable. He's a 17-year-old kid with a very, very bright future if he keeps this up, right?
He is, yeah,
But,
he's recorded,
but
yeah.
if he was a more experienced fullback, he does one of two things. He either gets up close to Martinelli, where the Martinelli can give him the ball back and we try and keep the ball, or he decides, I'm not going to stand here watching me pass. I'm just going to sink back into the empty space. But he didn't either. So he left, if you like, in golfing parlance, an opportunity for, and you know that Alexander-Arnold can do that. So the view that Kivior has is, I've an overload here now. I have to, should I stay or should I go? If I don't go, I could be caught on the inside. So he makes a decision to go. I think he made the wrong decision, but he's seen an overload, right? Lewis Skelly, who is inexperienced and kind of caught in no man's land, can't get back in time because Salah, being Salah, smelt it and said, I'm going on the inside here, right? I can see my way through. And that's what happened with the goal. But let's not look for scapegoats. The lad is a 17-year-old kid. In fact, if anybody was to blame for the goal, it's Martinelli.
Yep.
It's Martinelli for giving the ball away in that position.
Yep.
Yeah, it was poor.
Can I just say something? At that point, right? For me, this is where Martinelli's just a little bit headless at times. I've said it quite a lot of time. He was never going to beat them two men at that point. So what he would have been better to do was to run towards the corner.
Yeah,
but he ran right inside them both, and it was never. There was only going to be one outcome, which was the outcome. He loses the ball, but like you said, he's lost the ball, and then Skelly's been caught in no man's land. And then, like, let's be honest, the ball's a world-class ball. It's an absolute, unbelievable pass, first and foremost, yeah, right? And you think at the time, when I watched it back, you think, oh, wait, he's well offside. But actually, it's not Salah. Salah's very clever what he does because he knows he's offside. But that ball's gone the other way, and he's just cut in. I think I agree. I think if I was looking at why did that happen, I'd be looking more at Martinelli to say, why didn't you just run that? Why didn't you just get the ball down and run towards the corner flag? Because you can see you've got two men there. You're not going to beat two men. And let's be honest, because Martinelli's so quick at times, and in that passage of play, there was no one up with him. Yeah,
but then he's got to hold it up and recycle it. And this is what I'm saying. If Lewis Skelly had been a more experienced defender, and I'm not putting any blame on him, he was wonderful when he came on.
Yeah.
Right?
But you have to remember as well, Eamonn, sorry, he was only on the pitch for 6 minutes because he came on and, so he wasn't,
He was wonderful. It was inexperience that caught him out. And every great player has to have a learning start somewhere.
And he will learn.
If that's Calafiori on the pitch, he's going to do one of two things. He's going to give the ball to Martinelli and join him. So then Martinelli doesn't have to make that stupid decision. He can hold the ball up, recycle it to Calafiori, and we can play a couple of triangles and get our shape, right? Or else he says, I've done my bit now. I'm going to drop back to where the danger is. But he didn't either, And I just think that I had the picture that Kivior had because it's coming down my side and behind that goal. And he was left with a Hobson's choice. If I go, I'm done. If I don't go, I'll go. I'll take the risk. I might get there. And he didn't get there. The one thing I'll say is when Gabriel went off, and this is the difference between Gabriel and Kivior. And remember, you're not comparing like with like. Gabriel's one of the best in the world, right? When Gabriel went off, it was almost as if the team didn't believe we could see it out in the same way. And we all dropped 10 meters deeper collectively and invited them onto us a bit. And also, that's when it looked like, I know Mikel referenced some of the energy stats from the midfielders kind of dropped a little bit. And also, Mikel never calls a player out, but usually went as close to it as you could with the goal in calling Martinelli out and mentioning the transition. I mean, He doesn't beat his own players up unlike some managers in public, but he was seething about giving that ball and giving away. But look, all being told, I agree with Liam's post-game analysis with all of the adversity that's happened to us. Right? See, I don't think Man City are that clever without Rodri, and I think they're going to drop points as the season goes on. What I saw of Liverpool yesterday, they're still too light in midfield, I think. And if we can just navigate this war that we're in with the gods and the injuries and all of that type of thing and get out of it within touching distance. It's not like it was before. You see, here's the difference. I think if we came out of the Newcastle and City games and we were still within 5 or 6 points and we were getting our players back and coming from behind for a change, I think other teams would be looking at our squad saying, Jesus, we haven't seen them off yet. You know?
There was another talking point, lads, as well, in the first half. It was around after the half-hour mark. Canati's challenge on Martinelli in the box. That looked more of a penalty than it was the lit on Bowen yesterday. What was your view? It looked like he took more of Martinelli. He did get the ball, but I thought on other days that could have been given. I guarantee you, if that was Saliba or Gabriel and Salah, that would have been a penalty against. What do you think? And you had a good view down your end as well, Eamonn.
Yeah, well, I'll give you one line on it.
Yeah.
That was Anfield and it was the other way around to be given.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we were done there yesterday. You know, I think this season, the first 9 games, I think we have been done, you know, by very poor refereeing. I have to say it's the poorest I've seen this season, being honest. In all of the Premier League.
Did you hear what Mickey said afterwards? He said, I've no comment to make, but I'll probably get a letter about it at some point.
Yeah.
No, the letter come in the right places in the bus box. I get the letter from it. Yeah.
I want to ask as well, lads, another thing I was very impressed with, particularly in the first half, was how well Timber and Martinelli done nullifying Salah. And it was just in the second half, I thought Martinelli, I know Timber is being outlined. You could see he was cramping up. He was running a lot more and he was relying more. You know, he was really relying on Martinelli to help him out. Did you see how impressed though? Like Timber's really looking like, and I think when he gets up to full speed, he's looking the real deal, isn't he, Timber? He's so athletic. I'll come to you, Liam, on that one.
Yeah, Timber's different gravy, isn't he? Like, I think the problem at the moment, we haven't seen the absolute best of Timber, due to obviously the first injury, and then he's come back. He's played a few games where he's getting himself back into it. But even though he's playing to a level which, for me, is more than acceptable at the moment, I don't think we've seen anywhere near what he can actually do for us in terms of being fully fit. It's like Thomas Partey a little bit, isn't it? You've got to give these players a good 5 to 10 games, playing games consistently, not getting injuries, you know what I mean? Because it disturbs their momentum and swagger in terms of being on the pitch. But if you can get Timber on that pitch for 5 to 10 games, like he's going to be, for me, I think he's going to be the best fullback in the league. Like, that's where I'm going with it. Like, he's absolute different gravy. And yet again, if he doesn't go off, does that happen? Probably not. Do you know what I mean?
Because, just on that, and your previous comments about Ben White, I mean, if Gabriel was hurt for 6 weeks, and you had Timber and Calafiori on one or other side, and White and Saliba in the middle, you'd have no worries at all, would you?
No, not all, mate. Like, Calafiori is a left-sided centre-back, isn't he? So if you get back fit, like for me, well, to be fair, what I see from Ben White yesterday, like, he could easily play centre-back, couldn't he, for us? Like, you could easily put him back there and he could play 5-10 games and you wouldn't be concerned whatsoever. And I think exactly the same Calafiori. If you got him at centre-back, you wouldn't be concerned whatsoever. Even Timber can go centre-back. Like, that's the most frustrating thing about this situation at the moment. Tomiyasu can go centre-back. Yeah. This is the most frustrating thing. We've got so many players, right? And we ended up with like a 17-year-old. No disrespect for him whatsoever, right? Because I think he's going to be a top player. But when you get to these games and you get to the actual pinnacle games of playing the Liverpools and Man Cities in this world, we see yesterday, didn't we? Just we got out of shape once in that second half. Let's be honest. We got out of shape probably once and we got absolutely killed for it. But that's world class. You look at Salah and you think movement, what he does, he's world class. Do you know what I mean?
Where do you sat on the ground?
I must have been totally opposite you, mate, because I'm in the North Bank and I was totally opposite.
Okay, did you would have had a far away view from even after the goal when we were trying to get up the pitch and Raya was playing it out from the back and they played the ball across to young Lewis Skelly and it was like the charge of the Light Brigade in him and he just shifted his hips and with the outside of his foot just jabbed a little ball in between the lines. And
Yeah.
that was at the edge of his own box. And I said to myself, this boy has something. That was nerves of steel, you know?
He's definitely got something. And you know when a player's got something, not just because what he does on the pitch, but the faith that the coach is giving him. And he's not just come on yesterday, has he? He's come on in 2 Champions League games. Like, can you imagine him at the start of the season? We'll be saying to him, look, you're going to come on in 2 Champions League games and you're going to come on against Liverpool. Like, this player's got a big future. And obviously, Arteta will manage that. We know what Arteta's like. He will manage that with him and all that. And Arteta didn't want to put him in that situation yesterday whatsoever. But Arteta had no option. Well, he had the option of Zinchenko, but we don't know what's going on with Zinchenko, do we?
I actually heard people yesterday calling for Arteta's head. Seriously now, you know. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm saying to myself, like, I actually said to one of them, well, you better get used to the idea, pal, because he signed a new contract, right? For all sorts of the right reasons, right? But I was thinking, and he said he was a bit like the bit of film that we saw during the week of the lad that was on last week. No more excuses. Nobody's making excuses. Like the fact that Tomiyasu, we lost Gabriel and Timber, Calafiori, Saliba being suspended.
Yeah.
That's fact. That's not an excuse.
Yeah.
I'd actually just like to point out what we have actually, Eamonn and Liam. This is what we have.
Before you do, I'm just going to say, like, and then one of the comments that I got yesterday was that, you know, Gabriel and Tim were going off. Was the manager's fault? I'm thinking, this sounds like the film Caddyshack. Do you remember where the little mole used to come up under the green? Like, as if Mikel Arteta was coming under the ground with a kind of a Bulgarian umbrella into the, it's just mad. It's bonkers, you know.
This is sadly what we're faced with, lads. And like, here's our right back for positions: Ben White, Yuri Timber injured. Could be, but I think that was more fatigue yesterday. Tomiyasu injured. Thomas Partey finished the game. Right centre back William Saliba suspended. Ben White finished the game. Yuri Timber fatigue. Left centre back Gabriel injured. Calafiori injured. Kivior finished the game. And our left back Calafiori injured. Timber injured. Fatigue. Tomiyasu injured. Moyen Skelly finished the game. And Zinchenko and Tierney injured. So it's not, as you said yourself, yeah.
I rang Nigel Winterbourne yesterday morning. You know.
Yeah, they could have rang the old back.
Nigel, we only need you to do it for 20 minutes, man. I'm all right with that,
yeah. You can't make it up though, can you? Like Kieran Tierney, like, do you know what I mean? Like, even he's injured, and you're like, do you know what? We could actually do.
He was even on the substitutes bench watching on.
We could actually do with Kieran Tierney at the moment, couldn't we? Do you know what I mean? Like,
but the good news is, though, lads, I think a lot of these injuries are looking short term.
Yeah.
And if we can just, Liam is dead right, and let's get back to a bit of grounding here. If we can just hold it and still be not far away when our players are coming back. You see, the year before last, and let's not talk about the preview for the season here, but the year before last, we were like a firecracker in a lucky bag. Nobody saw it coming.
No,
like, last season, we were very, very close, right? We got 89 points, don't forget. And we might be playing better at this point of the season than we were, but we are the better squad.
Yeah.
But we have to have the squad. And I think if we can still be in touch when our players are coming back, I think the other clubs will be looking at us saying, they're still knocking around, you know?
Do you know the other thing
Liam,
that I always...
you might be asking, like, actually a question, Liam. Do you think with these defensive injuries, and as Eamonn says, hopefully these are short-term, do you think this could derail our title challenge, you know, in the short term if these injuries keep up?
Well, if we don't get the points we need out of Chelsea and Newcastle game, then it becomes very, very tough. Now, do you know, like, I agree with Eamonn. I think these are very short term now. I think Timber was just definitely fatigued yesterday. I think we'll definitely see him Saturday. We don't. The problem is we don't know what's going on in California, but I'm more than happy for William Saliba and Ben White to be centre backs. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with William Saliba and Ben White being centre backs. And I'm not. I don't want Partey right back just because I think he's so good in centre midfield for us. But if he has to go there again, then he has to go there again on Saturday, don't he? Like, we've now got Moreno and Rice where we've got adequate cover. Now, you've already said we're missing Odegaard, and we are missing him. I actually thought Trossard had a good first half yesterday. I thought he done really well in that first half, and he was getting himself into some really good areas and transitioning in ball well. But when you get Odegaard back, that's a big piece, isn't it? You get your swagger back.
That changes everything, getting Odegaard.
Yeah, it does. The swagger in our game, and like you say, it changes everything. You get him on the ball, so Saka gets the ball quicker. Do you know what I mean? Havertz gets into areas quicker. Martinelli gets on the ball quicker. It's that bit from Odegaard where we're just lacking it a little bit at the moment. But do you know what? It's very short term. And what I'd say is if we get out of Chelsea and Newcastle and get out with, if we got 4 points out of 6,
absolutely.
You've
just hit the nail on the head. 4 points from those 2 games, you know.
That's not bad, is it? Like, yeah. I'd rather get 3 points out of Chelsea than Newcastle. If you said to me, where do I want to get the 4 points? It'd be a point at Newcastle, 3 at Chelsea. But
yeah, 100%, Liam. Yeah.
If you can get 4 points out of 6, as I said, you've got rid of all them away games now. You get into the international break. You get all these players back. You go to Nottingham Forest on the 23rd at home, and then you go again. So it's just getting to the next international break now and just not losing the next 2 games. I think is massive for us. And if we don't, like Eamonn said, they haven't got Rodri this season, so points.
In many ways, Liam, because of the way the season has panned out, the game against Forest reminds me of the watershed after the break to Dubai last season. You know, when we just had a reset. You know, and I do know, having read into Arteta's science, he is planning that the team doesn't fizzle out in March, April, May. We've got to stay in touch, but I can only describe the fixture list. It's a bit like running on the outside lane, on the inside lane in a 400-meter race. You can't see a real picture until, you know, I'll put it this way. If we're 6 points behind and we played 2 or 3 much more difficult fixtures than the others, there it is, you know. But look, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's
another point as well I'd like to make, lads, well, on yesterday's game. Do you think there was a point for Raheem Sterling to come on and make a difference in that game, do you think? Or do you think because of the defensive injuries that happened with Timber and Gabriel, that kind of lured Arteta back from bringing him on? Do you think maybe Sterling, could he have had say the last 15 minutes in that match? Do you think he could have, come back to haunt Liverpool maybe?
Let's put it this way. If Gabriel and Timber don't go off right in that game, I think we go and win that game quite comfortably. I think you might see Raheem Sterling come on after 70, 75 minutes of that game. But things happen in games, don't it? And I think he probably thought, what's going on in the game with Kivior having to come on, Skelly having to come on. He probably didn't want to say people said to me after the game, he could have done this, he could have done that. But what could he have actually done? Like, the midfield would have been so relaxed in front of behind him. There's no disrespect to like Kivior or White, but they're used to having Gabriel and Saliba. Then they've got Kivior and White. They're playing with two totally different centre backs. You've got Skelly come on at left back. Raheem Sterling wasn't an option at the time. It wasn't a full process. Do you know what I mean? And Martinelli at the time was still offering his pace is still dangerous off the counter attack, and he's needed at that point. The problem is though, he gives the ball away, gives the goal away. And if he had taken Martinelli off with about 20 minutes ago, I'd have been like, what the fuck's he doing, basically? Pardon my language. I'd have been like, what the hell is he doing? Because Martinelli is the player who's got the pace and get the ball off the pitch quicker. So I don't think there was a moment.
Also, Liam, the way the game shape was because Gabriel had gone off and Kivior just couldn't get the defence out the way. And by the way, it wasn't just Kivior. Like, there's no Saliba, there's no Gabriel, and they've been kind of a mainstay for a week on week. So we were a small bit out of shape. But you see, by bringing Jesus on when he did, right, bringing Jesus on, Jesus kind of went into where Havertz had been, and Havertz came back into the midfield to give a dig out. I think if you'd have brought Raheem on, you wouldn't have had that option.
Yeah, he's more attack.
Yeah.
He's not that player to dig in.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. So do you agree, just briefly, lads, as well? Like, I know Roy Keane says things because it's the Sky Sports circus, but he says, I quote this. He says, if it was to look at the mentality of this Arsenal team today, when you're watching them live and they're 2-1 up, can you go on and take the initiative? Do you agree with that point?
I get what he's saying, and I as I said, I thought we needed to go for the third goal, but I think the problem is what come on at the back, and like Eamonn said, naturally we dropped 10 yards further back, and it invited pressure onto us. But apart from what Liverpool did with that goal, we defended them really, really well. Like there was not much else I can remember thinking they weren't like they were peppering Rayo with shot after shot after shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they weren't. I just think naturally, yes, in anyone's mind we wanted to go for the third goal, but I think it was what conspired in front of us that stopped us going for the third goal.
Yeah. The defensive injuries, yeah.
This is Arsenal we're talking about. Go and win the game. Go win the game. And then I take a dog for a walk. Gumption. You know?
Any reason to put a little dig in though, any against us? Is there any reason? Right, he's done it the other week. What game was it? He done it the other week. Man City away again when we got to the draw.
Yeah.
It's
But
like
he actually, believe it or not, he actually gave us a compliment yesterday for that. He says, Arsenal, I'm not condemning Arsenal. When you go 2-1 up at halftime at City, it's something that they couldn't do, you know. But
yeah.
What was quite frustrating is with Arnie Slot, you know, saying Arsenal were the fucking joke, you know, for the time wasting. You kind of just, you know, I don't think it was time wasting. I think it was really legitimately they were honest injuries, you know. You know, like we are. I've very rarely seen it.
Yeah, I mean, and Van Dijk went over to pick Saka up at one stage, and not aggressively, because he knew Saka had been kicked by McAllister, you know, and he actually went over in a fairly sporting way. In fairness to him, didn't kind of, you know, get up. He just kind of held out his hand and waited, and Saka just put the hand. Saka was after been brutal, but Saka has been brutalised
nice thing, actually,
into the Premier League, you know.
I like Van Dijk. He's honest. You know, as a pro in his post, he says, Arsenal have made the Emirates such a tough place to go to now. He says, you know, the big teams are dreaded now. You know, the fans have made, he says, the noise when he came out, he says he hadn't heard that in seasons gone.
That's what I said. It was the closest thing I've experienced to an All-Ireland football final.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That's saying a lot, Eamon, isn't it? Like, you don't hear it.
Yesterday, Jesus, when the teams come out, they actually played North London forever early.
Did they?
For some reason. I don't think it was because of the poppy thing or whatever it was.
The poppy thing, yeah.
Commemoration celebration, yeah. But
sorry, I thought it was because they wanted to hear the rotten mockers after.
I thought we were playing the Never Walk Alone kind of style when it first came out. We're playing them at their own game. But it's because of the poppy. They done it last year.
I'm just warming up for Coronation Street, you know what I mean? Oh, so frustrating, dude. Anyway,
look, that's it. I want to hear. No, it was. Look, it might be. Hopefully, we don't come to rue that. But look, obviously the injuries didn't help us really. Yes, I think if Saliba was there at the back and all, it probably would have came out with a win. But look, once you don't lose the game, you know, I say, you know. We're still very much in it. 23 points for City. I think, as Eamon rightly said, they will miss Rodri as the season goes on, because Kovacic is not, you know, like they only won 1-0 against Southampton, and I have to say our ex-keeper Ramsdale had a terrific game. He save on save, but in terms of ourselves, when we do play, like we've nearly played all the top teams, and like we've got something out of the games.
This is the time, Jonathan. Sorry for cutting across it. This is the time now for knuckling down and taking it week by week and getting this block of the season out of the way and getting our players back, and let's do a bit of rock and roll after that. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I do agree with Liam as well. Newcastle and Chelsea, I'd be very happy to take 4 points from them 2 games. Yeah, because I think that atmosphere at St. James's and it's at 12:30. I just hate those 12:30 kickoffs. I'd rather.
No, but you know what? The atmosphere, that like them Geordies, they won't get out of bed early enough. Like no.
I think it's better for us half 12.
It is.
I think it's better half 12.
Yeah, get them at 5:30 in the evening, and I'm telling you, probably no Woodman's club since about 12. Like, I've relations in Newcastle. I've seen that. Yeah.
I think we're playing Newcastle at the perfect time. They're on a really poor run of form, and I think they're there.
Shut up! Don't.
I think they're there
yesterday.
I think we could win this 3 or 4-0. I don't want
right. Okay. And it's good night from him, and it's good night from him.
It would be the end of my hosting career if all that back. That's just the next week. No, I just want to come to you, Liam. You're a man of the match from yesterday.
Yes, Dave. Ben White, I'm going to go for. Thought he was absolutely incredible yesterday. Thomas Partey just behind him. But yeah, I'm going to go Ben White. He's made me realise again that we've got absolute zero issue if Saliba's like. Don't get me wrong, I don't want Saliba injured, but we've got the best cover that we could have in Ben White for Saliba.
Let's go through Eamonn, man of the match from yesterday.
Thomas Partey. He bullied Diaz. And by the way, I don't like players that had that Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling Barnett. So I was delighted to see him getting bullied by our man. Now, Thomas Partey was really at it yesterday. And it was almost as if he kind of knew people were expecting him not to be up to the job, because he went out like a man marker yesterday, and he just bullied Diaz off the pitch. And in what I mean is that in an imposing way, not kicking him down the back of the legs or anything like that.
Yeah.
He was out forced to everything, and his use of the ball was great. I thought he did a great job. Thomas Partey for me. I
have to say there was one moment as well where Thomas Partey kept his composure really well in the box when Diaz nutmegged him and ran in. Where yesteryear he probably would have stuck his leg out and that was a penalty. He just went like that because he knew Ray had it covered. That's where he's learned. Yeah. But I thought in every game he's played this season, and Eamonn has said this on numerous review shows, he's really stepped up, hasn't he? To see we're seeing a bit of a different part. Yes, he's fit
at the moment. He's fit.
Yeah, I probably have to give my man of the match to Mikel Merino. I thought he's really endeared himself to the Arsenal fans, and that header was just an absolute bullet. He could just see he wanted to get on the end of it, and he looks really a top player, and I think he's going to have a good future with us.
Yeah, hopefully. But I just want to say one thing on that as to the listeners who weren't at the game, right? And I don't want to prolong the debate because we've done it up and down, left and right. But once again, what in the Eamonn Nazes were VAR doing? I mean, like
it was a clear goal.
It was terrible in the ground. It really was, Liam, wasn't it? I mean, we've all gone ecstatic, right? And we're then waiting 2.5 or 3 minutes when clearly
Van Dijk's foot.
It's been given. No, not even that. It's been given as a goal, and if you can't sort it out on 2 or 3 views, then it's a goal.
But this is the pigmouth circus, Eamonn. They want to take, they want the glory of it. But look,
it's a bank holiday Monday. I want to enjoy the rest of it.
The main thing is the goal stood, and we had a cracking game as we predicted. Barton Quinn, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you'll be back on the preview show after that. You promised us that Liverpool would lose. No, it was a cracking. It's always a cracking game, isn't it? And Salah again, as Eamonn said last week on the previous show, being the Joan he is, he'd come back to Henderson yet again. He has scored. He's the annoying little bollocks that we want. Hopefully he'll be gone to Saudi Arabia. They'll come next summer. No, it's been a busy show, lads, and it's been a good review show. I have to say, I'd like to thank Liam Gardner for coming on, pal. Thanks for taking your time out, and always to Eamonn Dandy. Thanks very much for coming on, pal. As always, you can catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and also on Spotify. Thanks to Martin Sumwell for editing this, and check out the River Bar is where you can catch all the Arsenal matches throughout the 24-25 campaign here. But until next week, thanks for listening and have a good week.
See you soon. Thanks.